Joining me is Neil Ward, who's running for the New Hampshire House in Claremont, Ward 1. So Neil, let's talk about some sort of policy issues. Look, one caveat here is I realize you don't have a bill in front of you, and the devil will be in the details and the bills. And so I don't want to say how will you vote on this or that, because there's nothing to vote on. But what I want to get is sort of your approach to some of the issues. I mean, the 800-pound gorilla, as it was going to be the budget. It's the first thing that we do with every biennium. This budget looks to me that because of the hospital tax and the lawsuit is an 80 million to 100 million sort of hole that we start out with.
Right.
How do you think about that?
You know, I believe in Yankee frugality. You know, I believe that if you look at the budget closely, there's ways to make up some of that. I think there's always waste in places that you can tighten things up. You know, I think we almost have to grow ourselves out of it, though. I think that we're going to have to, you know, bringing small business opportunities and big business opportunities into the state, you know, priority to create more revenue for the state.
So I mean, what I'm hearing is you say, look, in the short run, we may have to manage the expenses,
right.
but really, this is a revenue problem.
That's right.
And what I heard, the revenue isn't changing the tax structure. It's just having more people in the state, more businesses,
That's
more
right.
people coming to the state.
You know, things like, you know, I would like to see the Northern Pass project passed, because that's going to input money into the state treasury, up to $1 billion over 40 years. You know, and I like to see things like that, you know, happen. You know, the casino gambling thing is a big issue as far as a revenue builder for the state, but I don't see it. I see casinos closing everywhere. I see casinos being sold. There's one casino right now being sold for 5 cents on the dollar that's closed, and Atlantic City's had like 5 casinos closed. I don't see Massachusetts in a big hurry to build their casino that they were going to build, you know, north of Boston either. So I don't think casinos are the answer for us.
And it would, so your bias would not be to go down that route.
That's right. I would look for other avenues. You know, being a small business person for 40 years, I'm very sympathetic and enthusiastic about small business growth. That's the driver of our economy. You know, if we're going to increase our economy and grow as an economy and things to get better here, we're going to have to bring small business into this country, into the state.
So what could we do as a state that would, in general, not
Right.
specifics, but what could we do as a state that would really help bring small businesses and help the small businesses that are here grow?
Well, you know, we have a pretty oppressive tax structure on small business now. I mean, small business carries a lot of the burden, you know, in the state. And Texas and New York have been very successful in attracting businesses into their states by giving short-term tax relief, you know, and I'm not opposed to that. I think that getting the businesses here and getting the jobs here and keeping our kids here, all of that's worth some short-term tax relief, I believe.
So if somebody were to move in, you would say they would get some relief from the business enterprise?
That's right, for a short term.
And what about if somebody's here but saying, well, wait a second, do you want me to move out and move in?
Right.
Would it be for expanding or
Right.
what?
I would I would look for ways to also give them relief over time, you know, because they're carrying a lot of the load now. I mean, I'm not an economist, but I am a small businessman, and I have paid salaries and done budgets for 40 years and paid taxes on that for 40 years. So I understand the pressures on small business, you know, to exist and make it. Mm-hmm. And there's got to be other ways that we can look to, you know, to generate some income and give the small business people some relief so that they can grow. You know, because without that growth, without the small businesses growing, we're never going to improve, you know, our picture long term.
So, is there anything else on that economic front that you see, or can I turn to another issue?
Well, I would make the statement, I've taken the tax pledge, that I will not support a state income tax or a state sales tax. But if we as a state government continue to run deficits, we're going to wind up doing that. You know, and that's why I'm hoping the electorate will send conservatives to Concord to tighten things up and to avoid having to go that route, because that's an advantage that New Hampshire does not want to give up.
Tell me social issues. Where do you stand on those?
Social issues, I'm pretty much a straight line conservative. I'm I'm pro-life. I believe that life begins at conception and ends at death, and is valuable from point to point and precious from point to point. And my year and a half of caring for my father, who, being an adult and away from my father for many, many years, and then having a year and a half to reconnect and take care of him in his final days, was just absolutely a blessing, you know. And so on that front, I'm very strong in support of that.
Well, we've got about 10 seconds left, so.
The GMO issue, I feel strongly that we should know what we're eating.
Okay.
And I would support GMO labeling.
All right, and with that, I've got to end it. And